Hey guys, Aaron Cybertron Zhang here, and today I'm back with another episode of Road to Ranked, where I climb the online VGC 19 ladder and provide live commentary as I go. Thanks to everyone for tuning in to the last episode. I'm really happy to see that people are still interested in watching VGC 19 content. I know I've been kind of repeating myself for a bit, but at this point, I think we're all just kind of waiting for Sword and Shield to come out. Until then, though, I think there's still just under 70 days left until the games come out, so we have around 2 months or so. And like I mentioned in the last video, I think I'm just going to do a Road to Ranked every couple of days or so. So definitely let me know in the comments below how often you'd like to see Road to Ranked at this point for Ultra Series, and how often you'd like to see me switch teams as well. Obviously, I'd like to rotate through teams relatively quickly if possible, so I'm thinking maybe currently in my head an episode every 2 to 3 days or so, and we switch teams every 3 episodes or so. So basically every week and a half there will be a brand new team. So let me know if that's something you'd like to see. As always, if you enjoy Road to Ranked, please show support by leaving a like in the video. I'd really appreciate it. And we're going to get this episode started with a 1500 opponent from Italy. So definitely a very strong standard looking team, one that's pretty scary, against featuring Groudon and Xerneas, so nothing really too crazy going on here. So how do I want to approach this? Tapu Fini is interesting because if it's not carrying Moonblast, Umbreon can actually put in a lot of work in this game, but maybe I don't bring Umbreon. Lele always feels like a really good option to begin with against these teams. Yeah, I like Lele a lot. I think it's kind of hard to justify bringing Umbreon here because they definitely need Salamence for the potential speed control. So I think I'm going to go Lele, Salamence, Groudon, Necrozma. If I can get a Tailwind up while my opponent doesn't have Tailwind up, then Groudon can just kind of sweep through this. The upside is that Groudon and Necrozma before Ultra Bursting both resist Xerneas' attacks. So they'll be able to wall the Xerneas even if it Geomancies. So let's see what our opponent goes for. Yeah, the support Pokemon are always kind of tricky to go up against, but you have to really choose carefully with that kind of team composition, as it's a Mungus and Groudon, which I think is amazing for Lele Salamence. This is like the best case scenario, to be honest. I guess the question is what item the Amoonguss has, because if it's Payapa, then you can take a Psychic and maybe even get a Spore off. Either way, getting an initial Intimidate off against Groudon is huge. So let's see. Especially if I can just Tailwind turn 1. I mean, if I just Tailwind Psychic, that's not bad. You could switch the Groudon out into Tapu Fini and go for a Spore, though. Like, I am really quite concerned about the Spore enough where I might just want to attack with both Pokemon this turn, with the Hyper Voice and a Psychic. However, another potential play you can make is switch Groudon out into Tapu Fini and protect the Amoonguss. I guess I don't need Tailwind up immediately. So I think I'm just going to go on the offense this first turn and go for a Hyper Voice Psychic. Because Salamence will still be the fastest Pokemon on the field next turn. No switch outs or... okay. Which I guess is fine. Ideally, Amoonguss has Payapa Berry and I just get the knockout here with the double up. My opponent might just be double protecting here. Oh. Is it Sash Amoonguss? Yeah. But that's why we double. Okay, so Amoonguss will go down. Which is really good for this team. Especially because now you can't redirect like Psychics away. I guess the scary thing is now Xerneas can come out in Geomancy, but one way around that is just Psychic Xerneas and Tailwind. As Incineroar comes out. Interesting. Yeah, my opponent's in a really bad spot now, I think. I'm definitely clicking Psychic onto Groudon. There's no way for my opponent to prevent that. And I think I just go for Tailwind. Like, if Xerneas is the last one, which it should be, then you kind of have to, like, not switch out into it. Because if you switch in Xerneas, it's going to just eat up a Psychic and it'll just faint next turn. But Groudon protected last turn as well. I mean, that was, like, the best turn 1 for us possible. So, actually, no protects or switches, but that means we get Tailwind up, which is really good. Because I don't think my opponent can knock both of my Pokemon out right now. I think at best, maybe a Swords Dance with Groudon and a U-turn or a Z move from Incineroar. But he's just going to Fire Punch. Into Lele, which should survive that. And a U-turn. Cool. I think we survived that too. Actually, I would have preferred that to go down, because if it went down, then we get the free switch in into Groudon, and I think we just win. But now Xerneas surely comes out. Yep. So we'll definitely click Psychic into that slot. Trying to think what the best play here is. We're definitely not in the clear yet. Although terrain being up is big. I think ideally I want to chip away. I mean, yeah, Psychic on Xerneas for sure. Just that Xerneas could protect. And Groudon could switch out into Incineroar. Still 3 turns of Tailwind, 3 turns of Terrain. Kind of want to just Psychic and Hyper Voice. I think that covers all my options, quite frankly. Okay, yeah, Groudon switches out. So Xerneas here might click Dazzling Gleam, which might double knock me out, but then I just get Groudon in and Necrozma under 2 turns of Tailwind with Psychic Terrain up, and you can't click Fake Out. So I think I win if that happens. Zern could protect here as well, but he doesn't, which is really good. Special Defense Drop here would just end the game. Yeah. I don't think Hyper Voice was knocking out there otherwise. It might still not, honestly. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, that was unfortunate, but like I said, I don't think my opponent really has an out there. Because I have Groudon waiting in the back. Like, if you Dazzling Gleam, I don't even know if Gleam knocks out the Salamence, but even if you double knockout, then I get Groudon and Necrozma in, and then I can just Ultra Burst and click Precipice Blades. So I guess I would need to hit a Precipice Blades. But then, like, Xerneas has to protect there, and then I can just go for the Z move into it next turn. If my opponent clicks Geomancy there, then I'm still faster. It'll, for 2 turns. You can fake out the Salamence, but you can't fake out Lele, so I just click Psychic. I just don't think there was any way to lose this, so unfortunate special defense drop, I mean, definitely, but I feel like the lead was just perfect. Like, leading Salamence, Tapu Lele into Amoonguss, and Groudon is, like, the best case scenario you can see, especially given that Groudon protected that first turn. Seeing Incineroar switch in there was kind of interesting, though. I felt like maybe you just bring out the Xerneas immediately, but yeah. I also think, like, Tapu Fini would have pressured me a lot more in this game, as that looks like it's AV Incineroar. But with that, I just get to bring in Necrozma now. Or Groudon, but I don't want to risk missing with Groudon. So, yeah. Trying to think if there's anything else major here. These teams are always scary to go up against, though, because, I mean, Amoonguss, Fini, like, they're just such staples to everything. But now I can burst and just Earth Power Groudon, and is this at -2? Yeah. Because Incineroar is not Z, it can't knock out Necrozma or Salamence. At best, it can Snarl. Even if Groudon gets a double, you still knock it out anyway, so yeah. I mean, the special defense drop just meant that my opponent had no way to win. Does Groudon get the double? No. Yeah, I'm trying to think if it Geomancy's there. Yeah, the main issue for my opponent is I still have 2 turns of Tailwind, and you can't fake out the Lele, and Psychic and Hyper Voice will do enough where another Psychic will knock the Xerneas out, even after the Geomancy boost. So, I think this was a game where, like, Psychic Terrain was huge, because it blocks the fake outs on a lot of things. Oh, that's not AV Incineroar. I guess Hyper Voice just does, like, no damage. Yeah, so I actually did get the knockout on Necrozma, so definitely the best possible play for my opponent, playing to their out. So this wasn't actually a 100% guaranteed win. Actually, I think it still was. Yeah, because then I can just bring out Groudon. I could protect Groudon, Tailwind with Salamence, and then just click, like, Fire Punch Double Edge into Groudon. So, yeah, I don't think I even needed to hit Precipice Blades to win in this endgame. But that was scary. Yeah, I really thought that was AV Incineroar. Like, Hyper Voice just did so little damage against it. So I'm wondering if it's, like, max HP Special Defense Incineroar, but with the Z move. That definitely could be the case. Yeah. Huh, interesting. Either way, yeah, Special Defense drop was unfortunate. But ultimately, I feel like this team has a pretty good matchup, especially against Amoonguss teams, because you have 3 ways to really just kind of destroy Amoonguss with Salamence, Groudon, and Tapu Lele. So, Incin will go down there, and we'll take this first game. Trying to think. Yeah, I think either like Feeney coming in this match could have been really scary. Especially if I put in lead with it, like because Feeney gets terrain control over the Lele and puts on pressure against Salamence. So that's not super ideal to see. It can also potentially spam Icy Wind, which gives this team a lot of trouble. And ultimately, yeah, I think like this team has pretty good ways to scare off Xerneas because it's also running Necrozma, and so you don't have to Ultra Burst immediately, which is really huge. Yeah, by not Ultra Bursting immediately, you can just take the +2 Moonblast or Dazzling Gleams. That being said, you do have to check the Groudon on the opposing side, so yeah. Umbreon still could have put in work in that match, but ultimately, like, the Pokemon I brought definitely were the best. I just wouldn't... I'm sure I wouldn't go with the same composition in a best of 3. Like, for example, if that were a best of 3, my opponent definitely would be bringing Feeney, I think, as an adjustment. I'm trying to think what else you could really do. You bring Feeney, definitely wouldn't lead a Mungus Groudon again. I think, like, prioritize the Xerneas setup earlier. So, for example, leading a Mungus Xerneas is certainly something that's possible, or even Tapu Fini Xerneas, just to get rid of the terrain and put on pressure immediately. So if I were to counteract that, I wouldn't lead Salamence Lele again. I would probably switch it up by maybe even leading Groudon immediately. Like Groudon and Necrozma definitely could work, because then I put on Sunsteel Strike pressure. You want to switch in Groudon there, or Incineroar, I can Precipice Blades. But yeah. Pretty high-rated opponent for our next day, though. Cool team, too, with Yveltal and Mimikyu. Christopher Kahn actually used Mimikyu to do very well at the World Championships this year. And I think he just placed pretty highly at a regional level tournament in Australia as well. I think that was like the Z Mimikyu. So, yeah, Tapu Fini comes out again. This is definitely a match for Umbreon. It matches up really well against Yveltal, Groudon, Stakataka, and Mimikyu. Although I guess if Mimikyu is running the Fairy Z, I have to be very careful about that. I always like bringing Salamence because it's just so good against Groudon. Whereas Kangaskhan, not as great. I can't hit Mimikyu either after Mega Evolving. So, let's see, Salamence. See my opponent leading Fini this time around. Salamence and Necrozma is kind of interesting, but I like Salamence Groudon here because there's not much my opponent can do to stop it. Maybe I don't bring Lele here and instead I bring Umbreon. I haven't used Umbreon today. I kind of want to. It's not the best decision making for bringing Pokemon, but we want to win games and have fun. And with Umbreon, we can definitely do both. Lele is really good though. But you know what? I'm bringing Umbreon. Screw it. This Pokemon got second at Worlds for a reason. We saw why in that last episode. I want to feature it more. So let's see what comes out here. I just love Salamence Groudon as a lead because you get the Intimidate off, you put on pressure with Groudon immediately with Precipice Blades, and like most teams don't have a great way to deal against that, as it's Stakataka and Yveltal. Okay, so the Intimidate here is obviously huge. I expect Wide Guard from Yveltal coming out here. So I think I'll probably actually switch out into Umbreon turn 1. I mean, you've got to have Wide Guard on Stakataka if you're bringing it out like that. Could also just double up into Yveltal with a Double Edge Fire Punch. I could also Tailwind. There's definitely a lot of options right now. That could be Tailwind Yveltal as well, which I'm kind of worried about. Could it also just Foul Play my Groudon? Tailwind Protect or Tailwind switch out into Umbreon might be a safe play, but that could be Rock Z, which could be a little scary to go up against. Maybe I Mega, Tailwind, and Precipice Blades. Just to cover for the Trick Room option. So this guarantees I'll have the speed advantage after next turn, unless Stack Attack protects and Yveltal Tailwinds, but then we just match Tailwinds and you've wasted a Protect. Worst case, I guess, is Stack protecting Yveltal Foul Playing, but even that's not the worst case. Instead, it's Yveltal protecting. I guess it might be Shuka Stack Attack. That's good though, because I really thought about doubling up into Yveltal. If it's not Shuka, I mean, my opponent's just in such an awkward spot. But surely it must be. Yeah. So it probably is going to go for a Trick Room then. Which is not great, obviously. Nice play. Huh? You just gyro balls. Okay. That's really good. Because we got Tailwind up. The issue is that the stack attacker probably has Trick Room, so I do kind of need to prioritize targeting it down. I think I'll Hyper Voice and Fire Punch here. If you don't Wide Guard, then that double up should definitely knock out. There's no Wide Guard coming out. Yeah, get some chip onto the Yveltal as well. Yveltal could Tailwind or Z. But that's fine. I just can't let Trick Room going up after setting up a Tailwind, you know? Yeah. Nice. Glad I ended up Precipice Blading, trusting my gut. Alright, Foul Play will do a lot here. But we'll survive a Sucker Punch, given that Yveltal's at -1 attack. No Tailwind comes out either. I do need to still be a little careful about this, though. Because Groudon, from my opponent's side, can still be really scary to go up against. Either way, though, that was a pretty ideal first 2 turns, in my opinion. This Mimikyu comes out. Okay. Well, I'll definitely Hyper Voice here with Salamence. My opponent could potentially get a double knockout, so it's safer here to Hyper Voice Fire Punch Yveltal. Because then my Tailwind's about to expire, so even if you Trick Room, I can just protect Groudon the next turn. So I think that's the best play to go for. Yeah. And Mimikyu shouldn't be able to put on too much pressure against Groudon. And actually, it's Mimikyu protecting. Is it a double protect this turn? No. Nice. I'll definitely take that. Oh, that's AV Yveltal, isn't it? Should have realized that earlier. I don't think Fire Punch knocks it out then. Oh, it does. I'm trolling. Okay, nice. Yeah, we've got unfortunate this game being able to attack into the non-protects as Groudon comes out. So I think my opponent's in an awkward spot now where it's like, you probably want to Trick Room, but if you Trick Room, then Umbreon kind of goes to town. I do need to be careful, though. I haven't won this yet by any means. Even though I'm up 4-2, because Mimikyu Groudon certainly could beat what I have in the back. So it's the last turn of Tailwind. We know Mimikyu protected last turn. I think I'm just going to click Hyper Voice here with my Salamence, and it's probably still best to Precipice Blades. I'm not knocking out Mimikyu with either attack anyway, so Precipice Blades covers the option of Groudon potentially as my opponent forfeits. Okay. I think it was possible to win that one. You have to protect Groudon there, and... Or maybe you don't protect Groudon, hope for a Precipice Blades miss on my end. And if you get the if I miss Precipice Blades and you Trick Room, then Mimikyu's Disguise will be broken. I think Umbreon might still win that, but there is the threat of Fairy Z. So I think that was actually definitely a winnable game from my opponent's end. But it does mean we get to play a third game today, so that's exciting. I think, yeah, Mimikyu there definitely could Trick Room. Which would be really scary. And then, if you are running Fairy Z and Foul Play doesn't get the knockout onto the Mimikyu, then you could just Fairy Z me for a knockout. Yeah, that's pretty much what it boils down to. So, certainly a winnable game still for my opponent. It's just that you need a little bit of RNG. You also have to make the decision, do you protect the Groudon that turn? Just basically saying, okay, I'm going to get Trick Room up guaranteed this turn and go from there. I guess if my opponent forfeited, maybe he or she didn't have Trick Room, which would definitely then mean that my opponent had no out to win that one. But if there is Trick Room, there's still an opportunity. And it feels a little weird to see Mimikyu without Trick Room, because typically you want, like, Player Off, Trick Room, Protect. But you could also run, like, Shadow Sneak, Swords Dance, Shadow Claw, for example. So definitely a bunch of moves that are viable. Yeah, either way, that game was fortunate in the sense that we just got a lot of damage off and Trick Room never went up. Like, I thought Stack Attacko surely would have wanted to Trick Room up in the first turn. But I guess the reason my opponent didn't want to commit to Trick Room is if I don't Tailwind there, then Groudon will just outspeed the Yveltal under Trick Room, which makes it really tricky. No pun intended for Yveltal. Puts it in a really awkward spot. So, yeah. Anyway, we're just going to look for our last game today. Alright, we're going to find our last opponent today, running a Lunala Kyogre team. So, kind of reminds me of the team like Graham Amity used to get second at the North American International Championships. No Mega Medicham on this one, though, or Lele. Instead, it's Incineroar, Tapu Koko, Metagross, and Salamence. So, let's see. It's definitely a game for Umbreon. Because it's so good against Men's, Metagross, Kyogre, and the Lunala. Even the Incineroar, if we can knock out the Tapu Koko, Umbreon kind of has a field day. The question here is, do I actually want to bring Kangaskhan because there is Lunala and I can bite the Lunala? I can also double edge Koko for a knockout. Just feels to give up potential tailwind pressure. What do I want to lead with? Kind of actually thinking about Kangaskhan Tapu Lele as a lead. But I guess if I'm bringing both of those, I can't bring both Groudon and the Necrozma. And Umbreon. So alternatively, what about Kangaskhan, Umbreon, Groudon, and Necrozma? It's kind of Salamence weak, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think that's the best composition, but kind of want to try it out, so let's see. Like, Lele is really good here because of, with Scarf, you outspeed Salamence, and probably Koko if it's Z-Koko. And, like I said, I think, like, you win the game if you knock out the Tapu Koko, because then Umbreon just kind of goes to town. But I want to try out the Kangaskhan a little bit more, because it is Incineroar Tapu Koko. Yeah, like, if I had Lele here, it'd be so great to switch into. That being said, like, it's not the worst case here. You can't fake out the Umbreon. I think it's probably best for my opponent to just double protect this first turn. So, I mean, one play I certainly could make here is just Mega. I just don't want to switch in Groudon immediately, because then I'll lose the Weather War. And Incineroar here could also U-turn, which would be really bad news for me. Oh, I don't want to Roar. Yeah, I don't expect Tapu Koko to... I expect Tapu Koko to protect or switch out here. But if it doesn't for some reason, then I'll get a fake out into Snarl off. But Lele definitely would have been better to bring. Ah! Doesn't protect. We take those. My opponent might have forgot about Inner Focus. Nice. That's why Umbreon brings in the big bucks. Oh, that's really good for us then. Okay, I should survive a Z move. I'm gonna double edge the Tapu Koko then and switch Umbreon out this turn into Necrozma. Yeah, I just really want to protect the Umbreon because I think, like, my opponent can't touch it, especially if it's in the sun. So if it's Fairy Z-Koko here and that's going into it, then that's great. It's just a Volt Switch, though. It's a good Volt Switch for sure. But I do get a free double edge here. I guess if you have Lunala, you could bring it out here right now. Ah, nice play. Nice play. Kind of wanted to bait out an attack onto it. But, nice call. So double pivoting here. Yeah, that's a really solid play from my opponent's end. Probably back out into the Tapu Koko, I think. Yeah. This is interesting, though, where it's like I can double up onto the Koko. Where's Lunala now out, though? Could Ultra Burst with Necrozma. I want to switch out into Groudon. I don't know what Koko said it is yet either. Could be Specs, for example. Lunala could have Wide Guard. There are just so many factors right now, which makes things kind of scary. I feel like I can't just give up both Pokemon here. I don't think that was the best play. But if I actually knock out the Coco and Umbreon comes out, then it will be the best play. Blue Nala switches out. Okay. I'll take that. See if Coco protected here. It also might have just clicked like Dazzling Gleam, which would be so bad. Or Fairy Z into the Necrozma, expecting me to Ultra Burst, which would also be a really crazy read. But that's the best case scenario. That's really good for us. That's super, super good. I think we should be able to win now. Yeah, I think Umbreon just cleans up now. Not even cleans up, but it just disrupts everything. Taunt is interesting, though. Was it taunting? A Trick Room, I guess? Okay, so Lunala's out. You can't, once again, fake out the Umbreon, so I'm just going to click Snarl here. And I think I'll just withdraw out into Kangaskhan. Can eat up a Moongeist Beam. I want to conserve Necrozma, save the Z for a potential Kyogre in the back. Can also Earth Power Incineroar. I think Umbreon's just in such a good spot right now, like my opponent just doesn't have ways to really hit it. Which is why I wanted to prioritize knocking out Tapu Koko so early on. Hangs out. Lunala protects, that's fine. Because I have Bite as well, so next turn I can just Bite into that slot. Okay, this is probably U-turn out into Kyogre. I would think. I mean, it has to be Kyogre in the back. How can you not bring Kyogre? But if we hit the Snarl, then that's really great. That was definitely the best play from my opponent, though, I think. So now the question is, what is the Lunala carrying on its moveset? You just expect Moongeist Beam, Psychic, and Tailwind or Trick Room. With the Z move. But does it have Wide Guard? That's the question. Like one play I could make now is switch Umbreon out into Groudon and bite the Lunala. I guess I kind of like that. But Lunala could Z into Umbreon. Alternatively, I might just stay in, because at +1 you're not going to knock it out anyway. I could also Helping Hand Bite. Actually, why not just Snarl and fake out Kyogre? Yeah, let's just play this smart. Lunala might just switch out into Incineroar here. Ah, okay, that's definitely a play. But that's fine, I don't think Lunala can knock out either of these anyway. Yeah, the way I throw this game is if I just switch in Groudon and takes all this damage for no reason. If I just knock out one of his 3 Pokemon remaining, Groudon just wins. And now I'll break the Shadow Shield as well. Tailwind? Nope, just Psyshock. Okay. Yeah, we survive. Nice. Yeah, I like Umbreon is just sitting in and chilling. Whoa. Weakness policy. Oh. That's cool. Props. I wonder if my opponent Psyshock's here again. Because I could switch it into Necrozma, and I actually might do that. Because I think Kangaskhan's more important because it has Bite. Yeah, I don't see a Moongeist Beam coming out here, so I'm going to switch out. If my opponent calls it, whatever, that's fine. I get a free switch back in anyway. That was cool, though. I was not expecting... At first, I was like, leftovers? Lunala actually protects, which is even better. Because now I think Incin might U-turn, yeah, into Kyogre. And now I have Helping Hand Z pressure. My opponent's actually maneuvered around this pretty well, though, quite frankly. Like, I've been impressed by this. So now the question is, do I want to just commit a Helping Hand Z into Kyogre? I could also switch It's also going to eat up a Snarl, right? So I shouldn't be too worried about it. Because my opponent could switch the Kyogre back out into, I think I foul play Lunala here. And protect Umbreon or Z. Yeah, this covers all the options, I think. I'll get guaranteed damage off against things. Okay, so Kyogre's protecting, that's fine. I probably lose the Necrozma, but it means I get a free foul play off into the Necrozma slot. So, I'll see you guys after this animation. Okay, so Kyogre takes a little bit more damage. I think we eat a Moongeist Beam here. Psyshock. Wait, do you not have Moongeist? Or I guess my opponent was predicting the Groudon switching. That would make the most sense. Yeah, that definitely would make the most sense. I think that's just game now, though. Yeah. Anyway, I like that play there because I think it covers for everything. If you switch the Lunala out into Incineroar, then I get the Z move off against Kyogre. It doesn't knock you out, but at -1 you can't knock either of my Pokemon out, and then I can just switch back out into Groudon. Either way, though, I think my opponent really made some nice maneuvers to at least, like, put me in kind of an awkward spot. Like, if he made the correct reads, definitely could have maybe pulled something off. But I think Umbreon, once again, was just in such a dominant position that I didn't have too much to worry about. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, there's a billion ways I could play this out. But I think I'll just Moonlight and switch out into... Actually, no reason to switch out into Groudon. Don't take free damage off onto that slot. Yeah, just play it safe. Actually, I can just... See, even if you crit Origin Pulse, yeah, there's no way I lose this, right? As long as I don't switch in Groudon, so I'll just Snarl and Photon Geyser. Okay, so no Fake Out comes out either. Which is even better, because now it means we don't have to rely on hitting Precipice Blades to win this game. As Umbreon actually avoids the... double avoid. I mean, that wasn't knocking out either. After the Snarl. And I don't think my opponent could beat the Groudon. But it's definitely unfortunate. Okay. So now... I mean, once again, the way I lose this if I just switch in Groudon for whatever reason, like no reason to take unnecessary damage with it. So, I'll just target around. Wait for something to faint, get Groudon in, and then I can just click whatever attacks I want. Maybe I should have just Helping Hand Photon Geyser, because I don't think this knocks out at -1. Oh, never mind, I'm trolling. Kyogre looked kind of bulky. This team is really good, honestly. I mean, obviously, got second at Worlds, but it is really fun to play with. Cool. Yeah, the taunt was interesting on the Necrozma as well. I feel like my opponent was probably just too scared of some things that were definitely viable to be scared of, but yeah, like, my opponent just had no great answers against Umbreon, once again, so Umbreon really coming in clutch. I'll just Helping Hand and Double Edge here. That might not knock out, I guess, if it's buried, but, I mean, there's still Groudon waiting in the back, so, yeah. Anyway, I never switched in Groudon at any point, because I definitely didn't want to switch it into a Psyshock, which my opponent was actually kind of fishing for, so that was definitely, made a lot of sense why my opponent went for that play. Although I don't think there were really any great outs there after the Snarl went on to Kyogre, because Foul Play just knocks out Lunala. If you switch out into Incineroar, I'll get the Z move off against Kyogre. Even if that doesn't knock you out, you Origin Pulse, you knock out neither of my Pokemon. I can just switch in Groudon, you give up the special attack increase on your Lunala as well. So, yeah. Couple solid games today. We're definitely climbing up. And, yeah, I'm having a lot of fun with this team, so hopefully you guys have enjoyed watching the games with it. I feel like I've gotten a little better hang of how I should play it, but definitely still a lot to learn before we get any better with it. So, yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Thanks for tuning into Road to Ranked, even though it's the end of Ultra Series and Worlds have already happened. It means a lot that people are still interested in watching the series. Of course, if you enjoyed, show your support by leaving a like, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace.